I use different media technologies in construction of making my documentary. I used primarily the internet, as obviously the internet allowed me to do a lot of research in the background about the background of documentaries. Therefore, like, I researched the genre, looking into observational and expository documentaries mainly, and obviously hybrid, where it can form when it forms both documentaries, so expository and observational documentaries combined. And then I obviously saw examples of real media, lots of different documentaries. You'll see that on my blog. I've obviously got examples of documentaries I'd watched. Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back, Nanook of the North. A lot of Michael Moore's, like Fahrenheit 9/11. A variety of different documentaries. I also researched institutional context, so like with my Channel 4, obviously it being a Channel 4 documentary, I used Channel 4 AD to view online lots of different Channel 4 documentaries, like The Chicken Shop, The Undateables, lots of different Channel 4 documentaries. I also actually contacted Channel 4, so I used the Channel 4 website to actually get in contact with the head of Channel 4 documentaries. I told him about, obviously, being a media student and how how I wanted some advice on my documentary. He gave me some great feedback, told me about the times I should do, my target audience. Again, you can see that all on my blog in further detail. I also actually used the internet to contact my expert interview of the police. I contacted Sky Curlow through her email, which was on sort of the Avon Somerset Police website. That was really useful, as she was really great and she helped me a lot with obviously an expert interview. I also used the internet to contact my Vox Pops. So the sort of within my documentary, I have lots of different people give me their opinions on technology. So I've got sort of like some grandparent sort of figures, as well as just typical adults, and even like children, sort of teenagers and young sort of preschool children. So I used the internet to contact people to ask them if they would help me with my documentary. Sort of did that through mainly social media, as obviously that's how you that's the main sort of way you can contact people in this day and age. Also, I use the internet for my blog. So as I've sort of mentioned, a lot of my posts on my blogs go into further detail about everything I'm sort of saying now, with post-production anyway. So I use the blog to obviously showcase all my research, with my pre-production, and then obviously the blog provided me with a platform to lay out all my ancillary tasks and my actual documentary, which is my main task. Also, additionally to that, it provides me with an online account of production process, so I can obviously use that to write down everything, because I mean, originally my documentary was on technology, but originally I wanted to do it on the Wetherspoon chain, the pub. I thought that would be quite interesting, as there's so many Wetherspoons now compared to originally how many there were. The chain keeps growing and growing, but unfortunately, after contacting them, they decided that it wasn't sort of feasible and they couldn't actually help me with filming a documentary about the chain. So it showcases all my different stages of production and how I overcame that to obviously do my documentary about technology. Now I've actually done my documentary about technology, I'm actually kind of glad that Wetherspoon, even though it set me back, even though that they didn't actually let me film them, I feel with technology kind of a much broader subject, and it allowed me kind of better expert interviews, because I mean, with the Wetherspoon chain, I don't think they would have let me sort of film a lot of their staff, because obviously, as you can understand, they'll be busy sort of doing their actual jobs. So by sort of doing this, it allowed me a broader range of interviewees and everything. Also, Pinnacle, which obviously allowed me to edit my production. that was really great, as I use Pinnacle, that's obviously the software I use to edit my production. I used it primarily for editing my visual content, as obviously you're going to watch the documentary on screen, so there's a lot of the visuals that are going to kind of grab the audience, but obviously it helped me with my audio as well, as obviously you can do the different layers on Pinnacle, which is really great, as you can sort of have 4 different layers. So at one point on screen I have my documentary title, and then I've also got sound behind it, so, and then obviously with my actual going through the documentary I've got my my actual interviewees on screen, and I've got sound underneath it and a narration, so I've got loads of different layers going on with the editing, which is really great because that's everything I want to kind of portray on screen like Channel 4 do. Also I use Pinnacle for in a more sophisticated way than last year. This year I did a lot more editing in a lot sharper way. So this year I used 2 cameras for interviews, so I angled them in different positions so that I could cut to and from different interviews, to and from different angles of the interview. So that like gave me more visual variety, but obviously through that I had to do really sharp editing to make sure I was getting these cuts precise so it doesn't look like a continuity error or anything. Obviously by doing that, it just creates more visual variety for the audience, so it's not sort of the same thing going on and on screen. Additionally to that, I used Pinnacle to extract the audio for the interview, so using like cutaway shots and everything, so I'd get rid of the audio from a cutaway, like for a shot, and then I'd keep, like using the layers of Pinnacle, I'd put like an interviewee still speaking underneath and then just have their visual on top. So that was really good, and it's like extracting visuals and audio that you don't need and don't want. Also it was really great for editing my sound, as my narration was quite quiet, so as you can do on Pinnacle, you can edit the different sound levels, so I've edited that so that all the sound should be the same throughout, the same level of sound throughout the whole production. Also by using HD cameras, that was really good, as obviously everything's in a HD quality, which is obviously as you'd expect kind of like a Channel 4 documentary to be in, kind of HD quality, perfect quality, so you don't want kind of blurry on screen. Digital technology also allowed me to import raw footage and then obviously edit it to make the footage all link together. And then obviously at the end of the editing process I exported the documentary onto YouTube, so obviously another media platform that I've used in order to kind of get my documentary out there, get an audience viewing it and everything. I've got a lot of comments on my YouTube videos, because I actually made obviously 2 different two documentaries made of my first and second draft, and then I've got people commenting on both of those, which is really good. And then obviously from those first comments on my first documentary, it allowed me to improve and make the second draft a lot better. Also using the digital technology allowed me to showcase the documentary, so and like invite the audience feedback, and then obviously I embedded my documentary online, which is quite good because you don't have to follow links, you can actually see it clear, and then obviously it's more inviting to sort of watch. Going back to Pinnacle as well, that also allowed me to do my ancillary tasks, so that was really great with my radio trailer, because what I did was I recorded myself speaking, and then I used audio clips from my documentary and embedded them in between my own narration. So that like kind of intercut with my voice and those sound makes it more interesting a bit, because obviously Channel 4 don't use radio as a form of advertising. So as you'll see on my blog again, I've used a trailer of a documentary, and then I've just, instead of actually watching it, I've just listened to it, so it kind of portrays that, so it's still like a Channel 4 style even though they don't use radio. Obviously that was really good because obviously then I could use Pinnacle to do that. Obviously with my poster ancillary task, Pinnacle wasn't really needed because I didn't obviously need any sound or anything with that, so I actually used Photoshop. I used a HD camera to take a picture of some technology devices, like I've got a phone and a camera actually in the picture, and then I used Photoshop to get my Channel 4 logo onto it, and then actually get the text on there as well without any sort of background. So the Channel 4 logo doesn't have a background behind it, that you can just see the actual picture. So that was really good. Obviously allowed me to make the print-based advertisement. And that is all.